Hey friends, what's up? How y'all doing tonight? Good to hear. Yeah, so I wasn't actually planning on filming anything today, but I had to get dressed up for something else that I'm doing later today, and I figured while I look pretty bomb, I might as well film something, right? In all honesty, going out tonight as somebody with a chronic illness inspired me to talk about that subject. Going out as somebody with a chronic illness and how to manage that, what activities are best, and how to make sure that you don't overexert yourself. So on this particular night, I'm going out to dinner with some friends for a little get together, and then afterwards I'm going straight to a drag show with another friend, which is super exciting. It is actually a chronic illness drag show. It's put on in my city by a bunch of drag queens that all have chronic conditions. A lot of them have invisible conditions and some of them do not, but everybody has a chronic disease, and a lot of the people in the audience do too. And it's basically a event to gather the LGBTQ disabled population and just have a fun time and not feel pressured to overexert yourself, to dance a bunch, to drink a bunch, like you may feel in other clubs. In this type of an environment, you feel like a lot of the other people are on the same page as you and may have the same concerns as you, the same accessibility needs as you, and so you feel so at home. And I got like a little bit emotional last time, to be honest, because I was having such a good time and I felt so welcome, even though I had never met any of the performers. I had gone with one friend, but I hadn't known anybody else there. But I felt like so included, so cozy, which is awesome because I don't feel that way at bars and I don't usually feel that way at clubs, because as somebody that uses a cane, uses crutches, doesn't drink alcohol, I feel like those places aren't made for me. Places like bars and clubs aren't catered for somebody that has some mobility issues and doesn't drink alcohol. That's my opinion. So a lot of the time I just feel kind of awkward, and I usually only go to bars and clubs if it's for some kind of event, like a birthday party or something. I wouldn't just choose to go to a bar or club on my weekend. That's just not my scene. But in this particular event, it's super awesome that I feel like it's catered to me. So all that being said, since I have all those plans later tonight, I'm just kind of taking it easy during the day. I had a conference call in the morning, and then the rest of the day I just kind of took down my Christmas decorations, had some snacks, did some light physical therapy, just like laid low around the house. So if you've ever heard of the spoon theory, if you're in the chronic illness community, you know that the theory is basically everybody has a capacity that has a certain limit for your energy. And you can think of that as like a drawer of spoons, like fine silver or whatever. You have like 10 spoons, and that is your stamina. That's your energy for the day. And for people that don't have chronic illnesses, that spoon drawer kind of gets refilled. They don't have to use as many spoons for the amount of activities they do. So basically what it's saying is, if you don't have a chronic illness, you might have more stamina and you might be able to do more things without it taking as much energy as somebody that has chronic illnesses. This mainly refers to fatigue. And so for somebody like me or other people that experience fatigue or any symptoms of their chronic illness, basically every time you do an activity, no matter how big or small, it takes a spoon out of your energy supply. So even things like taking out the trash, going grocery shopping, taking a shower, vacuuming the house, those all require spoons. So I wouldn't do all of those in the same day because at the end I would just run out. And then things like going out to a club or a concert or to the shopping mall or a party, those take up a lot of spoons. So where vacuuming the house might take up 1 or 2, going out to a party might take up 5 or 6. So in my example, I'll be using up quite a bit of spoons to go out to dinner and then go out to a drag show. Not only because it's 2 different events, but also because it's at night, and early in the morning and late at night is when my energy is in the garbage. So doing 2 activities at nighttime is going to take a little bit out of me. And I know that because I've been living with chronic illness for most of my life. And I know that I'm going to be a little bit tired and my stomach might hurt, I might get a little bit bloated, my hips might start hurting, I might get a headache, and I know that ahead of time, and so I am going to lay low in the morning and I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I'm not going to feel like, oh, I'm being lazy, I'm just sitting around the house. Don't feel like you have to do something all day. If you have a chronic illness and you know that you have plans later and that it's going to take a little bit out of you, take some rest and take care of your body, because I know that if I rest for most of the day today and then I go out tonight, tomorrow's not going to be so bad. I might have to sleep in a little bit and then I'll probably be okay. But if today I decided to go grocery shopping, go out on the town, go to a coffee shop and draw, go take a walk, and then later in the day went out and did those things, I would be done for like 3 days. I would be in so much pain. I'd be so fatigued. I wouldn't be able to concentrate when I go to work on Monday. I would feel like crap. And so knowing that from experience, I've accepted the fact that I need to put my body as my #1 priority, and that means resting and finding that balance between how much can my body handle and what do I need to offset. When I know I have plans coming up, how do I mitigate that by relaxing my body, doing some relaxing, slow, low energy exercises to heal my body before I even go out. Along with that, something that I'm kind of still coming to terms with, to be honest, is picking activities that I feel like I can actually do that won't hurt me or make me feel worse. So going on a really long hike, going somewhere in the cold, going somewhere with lots of crowded people around you, or that takes a lot of physical effort, something like ice skating that I used to like to do as a kid, I just know now that that's probably not the best idea. So some ideas of things that you can do if you're in a situation like me where you are a social creature and you really need to get out and hang out with some people and get out of your house, but you don't want to hurt yourself, here's some ideas of things that maybe you can do instead. If you have an art museum in your town, sometimes they can be a little bit expensive, but a lot of the time art museums and museums in general have free days at some point during the month, like once a month, once every couple of months. Museums typically have a free day, especially art museums. And while your initial reaction may be, those things are huge, they're multiple stories, I don't want to walk around and look at all the art, that's true if you wanted to see every piece of art. But if you went to a lower cost museum or on a free day, then you can choose like one section of the museum. And so typically if I were going to a museum, I wouldn't try to go to the whole museum in one day. I would go to one area that I was really interested in, which is usually just the contemporary part, to be honest. It's my favorite. And the other bonus is that art museums typically have benches aplenty. There a lot of the times are benches in front of large pieces of art, which are literally made for you to just sit in front of it and take it all in. It's kind of the experience. And so a lot of the time when I go to an art museum, I'll walk around a little bit and then I'll sit for like 10 minutes and look at the art around me. And it's so relaxing and calming, and as somebody that's an artist myself, super inspiring, gets those creative energy going on. And then you can walk into the next room, do the same thing, walk around, appreciate the art, and then you can sit down and just take it all in and have a breath and have like a little zen moment. That's something that you can either do by yourself or on a date if you have that, can't relate, or with a friend, family, whatever. I also love coffee shops. Whenever I meet up with friends, if it's not at somebody's house, it's usually at a coffee shop because it's low energy and a lot of the time caters to my dietary needs. A lot of the time they have alternative milk options, you know, tea, whatever, if you can't drink coffee. And also, this is a big one, It's way more affordable than going to a freaking restaurant. Instead of paying $15 for a meal, I can pay $4 for a cup of coffee, really just for the experience of hanging out with my friend and not have to feel obligated to spend a crap load of money to hang out with my friend, especially if a friend is in town. You don't see them that often. You don't just want to hang out at your house. If you want to go out and socialize, I would say go to a coffee shop over a restaurant if you are pressed in terms of financial need. Bookstores are also a cool place. That's typically someplace that I would go alone. Sometimes I would go to a bookstore with friends or family, but that's just if like they're in town and they really want to go to one. But on a regular weekend basis, I find it really relaxing to just go walk around a bookstore. I like to sit on the ground in the bookstore and have like my little books around me and just take it all in. Really don't care what other people think. I'll go onto an aisle where there's no one around me, so it's not like I'm sitting in the middle of the floor, like I'm in an aisle somewhere. Nobody cares. And it's really tranquil, and it's a nice place to just sit with yourself, especially if you're reading something like whimsical and magical or like an inspiring autobiography. It's a great way to just kind of rewind, relax during the weekend while also still being out. Because sometimes I think that when you have chronic illness, it can be really easy to just want to stay inside and stay in your home. But for somebody like me who's super social and extroverted, I need to be around other people, even if I'm not like actively engaging in conversation with everyone around me. If I'm out in public, I feel a little bit better than if I was to be home alone all weekend. And when the weather is nice, community gardens, local gardens are really cool. I would advise one that's free because some of them can cost money. But depending on where you live, there might be community gardens, or like a lily garden or a Japanese garden or something like that you can go walk around. They might have ponds with ducks or fish, obviously flowers. And if the weather is nice, it's a really calming place to go with friends. My friends know that I have mobility issues, and that's something that my friends know I like to do, is to go hang out in a garden, pack a picnic, like strawberries and almonds or something. That's like one of my favorite spring or summer activities, is to go hang out in a garden and have a picnic. That's also a date idea if that applies to you. This list could go on forever, but I'm going to wrap it up with craft nights. These pair really well with snacks and movies if you're into that too. Not everyone is super crafty, but I know people that say they're not crafty that still enjoy a good craft every once in a while, especially if it's something that doesn't require too much previous experience and skill and whatever. I know I myself am an artist, and some of my friends are artists too, but even my friends that don't consider themselves artists, it's so fun to just get a nice easy craft and just chill out, watch Harry Potter, High School Musical, 50 First Dates, whatever. Crafts are awesome because you can create something that you get to keep that you made out of thin air. And also, if you get cheap craft supplies, it's a lot more inexpensive than going out to like a restaurant or a coffee shop. You can just buy supplies for a couple dollars. You can even just do like a watercolor painting, draw with pencils that you have around the house. It doesn't have to be in a, like, you don't have to knit a blanket or something like that. It can just be like a small little craft. Cut snowflakes out to hang from your ceiling during winter time, something like that. It's relaxing, in my opinion. It can be inexpensive. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You can have blankies and heat packs and snacks, a robe on, all that junk. You can have a movie on in the background. And I really like crafts because it's something to do with your hands. I'm very fidgety and I need to have things to do with my hands. I am creative, so I like to make things, but I also like to have conversations with people. So doing something like a craft is really cool with friends, so that you're doing something, you're not just sitting there talking, but you can have that conversation while working on something, which is cool because like if you go to the movie theater, that's an activity that you're doing together, but you're not really engaging with that person. where a craft I think is a nice balance of both. You are doing an activity, you don't feel this pressure to like fill every second with conversation, but the opportunity's there if you want to talk to them. So that's my thoughts. As unorganized as it may be, that's how it came out. I hope you have a restful 2020 that is fun, exciting, healthy, relaxing, rewarding, etc. Take care of yourself, put your body first, and make sure that you have fun with people while keeping your body in mind and doing activities that are good for you. Or if you're gonna go out to someplace like a club, just keep that in the back of your mind during the rest of that weekend or that morning so that you know, hey, I'm gonna be using up a lot of those spoons later, I'm gonna be using up some energy later, so I might as well lay low for a little bit right now so that my body can prepare. All right, have a great weekend, and I'll see you